The Phoenix Suns. This is actually a
10.
good team. 10. Look, Bradley Beal, this injury stuff is an issue, right? Like, and it's not just about Bradley Beal, it's about Kevin Durant and Devin Booker too. The workload on those guys, I think, is just too high. This was an issue that we thought they might run into this season. Lack of depth for the Suns. Like, we know that that's important, especially in a long regular season. They don't really have any great defenders. I think Nurk has been up and down, but mostly decent this season. I don't know if it helps them in the playoffs, but I'm really, really worried about the Suns because of the Beal situation.
So I got a question to ask you guys off of that. With the Beal situation, Booker's missed games. KD's been the healthiest of them all. How many games do they need to have together for you to feel comfortable with this? Like, what do you need to see? We're at what, 25 right now, I think, for the Suns. And you know, like, how many games do you need to see the three of them all together? They've only played, I think, about 24 minutes together. What do you guys, how many do you need to see where you can go, okay, this is something I'm now confident in?
Well, this is kind of what we've dealt with the Clippers for the last few years, where their health has waxed and waned, and it seems like their stars were never healthy at the same time, and they get to the playoffs and they play like a bunch of strangers, you know? Seth, I don't know. Is chemistry and familiarity important in the sport of basketball come playoff time?
Perhaps. I mean, I don't even know that it's not even just the comfort with each other. Like, I think we had questions over whether this trio is actually, like, it's going to sound weird given the caliber of all three players, but is it actually good? And like, I would need 30 games of it being good and not just, you know, being two guys going off and Bradley Beal being the highest paid, you know, place kicker in history, essentially, and have it be effective and win games. I would need to see about, you know, 6 weeks of that to feel good about this team, because I didn't coming into the season. I think none of us were particularly happy with that trade. And I think that, you know, they haven't had a chance to prove it, but they haven't proven it. And also everyone, the guys are hurt. The load you've talked about on Booker and Durant has them 10th in the West.
Mo, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm terrified. I've been worried about them. I mean, you talk about Nurkic being up and down. I'm telling you, he's a playoff problem. Whenever I see guards go at him in the pick and roll, it's for the most part rough, you know, from what I've seen. And I think there's a lot of like Chris Paul blew by him in a game. Chris Paul, old ass Chris Paul, and I love Chris, but still, man, like, that shouldn't happen. And I think there's a lot of stuff with what we're watching with them, and I think there's a lot of difficulty for them. And I just worry they got a lot to figure out once they get those three guys healthy. Who's the fifth starter? What's the rotations, and who can play with who and whatnot. Like, I don't know, Seth, if 30 games is enough. I almost feel like the boat has sailed in terms of them having enough time to figure it out. Like, I felt like they kind of needed the whole season. And it's, you know, by the time they're talking about Beal, what, like early January, mid-January, what's that, another 3 weeks? Like, you're in trouble. And that's a real issue with those things. And I think that's a concern for them, where my panic meter is 11, Dave. I know most meters go to 10, but mine goes to 11.
I'm going to ask a question here that I think illustrates why the panic is so high. Based on what you just said, Mo, this is a crazy. I'm surprised I'm asking it, but if it was announced tomorrow that Beal was out for the season, would they be in better shape than they are with the limbo of not really knowing?
It's a good question.
The fact that it's even a question, I think, illustrates where we are.
I know what you're saying, like that. Yeah. That limbo kind of is important, but I just think also the talent deficit's so hard, because I don't know if they have a way to get anything else to turn. Okay, we don't have Beal for the season. All right, time to start dealing and making sure we get the pieces we need.
Yeah,
they're in a tough
spot. It's kind of the opposite.
Way, so I almost think like it's difficult.
In some ways, it's opposite of like the way I look at Cleveland. Like Cleveland, okay, 2 good players are out, but you still have this guy who's an asset that you can maybe trade and get more stuff. Whereas with Phoenix, the guy who's out would be the guy that you would maybe shop around, you know? if it wasn't working out. You're not shopping around Kevin Durant. You're definitely not shopping around Devin Booker, right? I think
with that no trade clause, you're
fitting
kind
in,
of screwed.
yeah, fitting. That's oh my god, I completely forgot. In the heat of the moment, that Bradley Beal has a no trade clause. I totally forgot. After, oh man, yeah. Well, I mean, listen, I'm sure he likes Phoenix. It's it's great weather there in the winter. Man, yeah, I might be pretty high up there. I think I'm a good 9 or 10.